fight, argue, disagree, war. What comes to mind when you hear these words? Violence, anger, even betrayal? What if you dug a little deeper, right down to the core? The roots of these words share a common identity. They all display an act of conflict. Conflict is an inevitable part of communication, but when managed properly, it can actually end up strengthening a group. This presentation will bust the myths created about conflicts, define the different types, and explore ways to manage them. Choosing to see conflict as an opportunity allows space for positive resolution and group cohesiveness. Conflict can be described as constructive, effective, and successful. What is conflict? Conflict arises when divergent ideas are expressed between two interdependent parties. Conflicts can stem from different cultural backgrounds, as well as factors such as religion, beliefs, values, and personal experiences. Let's take a look at some of the myths history has created about conflicts. The first myth is that conflict is harmful and should be avoided. This is obviously a false statement, and avoiding the issue can make matters worse. Conflict can help the members of a group better understand a problem at hand, enhance individual thinking geared towards achieving the goal. Member involvement and group cohesiveness can also increase as a result of conflict. Based on the use of collaboration, the win-win style of conflict, the conflict could bring about a better overall product and much better end state. The freedom to strongly argue based on your point of view with the care of not attacking the other group members as to satisfy the whole as opposed to oneself. Myth number 2 states that conflicts within a group reflect a breakdown of communication. This is also false. As explained earlier, conflicts are bound to happen. However, they can occur over differences such as values, work strategies, goals, or even limitations of resources. The use of compromise can greatly improve the communication in any given group. Compromise in a conflict allows both sides to share their opinion and the best outcome to be reached, even if you don't agree with the final notion. The third myth tries to shed some positive light on conflict by suggesting that all can be resolved if the parties involved are willing to openly discuss it. The truth is, some conflicts will never be sorted out, and in this case, agreeing to disagree is the best solution. Agreeing to disagree is the best solution based on the concept of compromise. In this case, it's considered a partial win, partial loss for both parties. As we move forward, we need to understand that discovering why the conflict is occurring is more important than the conflict itself. This concept can greatly improve conflict management within a group. There are 3 types of conflicts. Disagreement over ideas, reasons, or information is classified as substantive conflict. This conflict is task-related and contributes to a secondary tension within the group. A colleague recently witnessed a substantive conflict firsthand where there was a breakdown in communication. 2 non-commissioned officers in the military built a conflict based on misunderstanding by not taking the time to clearly and concisely explain their understanding of a situation. The resulting different ideas clashed. Once both NCOs had their chance to clearly state their issues, both NCOs came to an agreement. A more common source of conflict stems from personality differences, called affective conflict. As we all know, no 2 people are the same, and therefore disagreements about likes and dislikes occur, and a struggle for power can emerge. In the news recently, an example of affective conflict arose when a father from Lake Pryor, Minnesota, shared a video online about the bullying of his teenage daughter. Brad Knutson's 14-year-old daughter received racist Snapchat videos from twin high school students, which was recorded. In an effort to solve the conflict peacefully, he reached out to the twins' parents. Pearl plainly states he does not mind his kid's behavior and resorts to name-calling. Left with no form of compromise in sight, Knudson turns to the web for resolution. The video went viral, and since then, Pearl has apologized and is said to be entering rehab for alcohol and prescription pills abuse. The third type of conflict is procedural and deals with clashing ideas about the how-to aspect of group strategy. In today's digital world, we found that a new type of conflict has surfaced due to computer-mediated communication. The use of technology can hinder a group's foundation because there is a lack of social development between the members. Nonetheless, these conflicts can be managed if communication is kept open and constructive. Managing conflicts properly is the most important factor to remember when you find yourself dealing with an issue among a group. If conflict is mishandled, the outcome can ultimately destroy the trust and respect within a group, ruin honest communication, and can personally hurt targeted individuals. There are 5 styles of conflict management and are based around 2 critical questions. First, how important is it to satisfy your own needs? And second, how important is it to satisfy others' needs? The first conflict management style is avoidance. As stated earlier, avoidance is never a good option when dealing with an issue because no solution can ever be reached. This management style happens when any group member decides to remain silent. Their reasoning for doing so could involve not wanting to hurt someone's feelings. Unfortunately, avoiding conflict can also be seen as a lack of caring for the group's overall needs. The next conflict management style is accommodation, or the act of giving in. One group member appeases another member by putting their needs first and not arguing over an idea from a different point of view. The next conflict management style is said to be a win-lose situation. In the context of competition, one member fights to have his or her opinion heard and utilized with no regard for what other group members think. This is a very harmful style of conflict management and can eventually make the issue worse. On the other hand, competition is sometimes necessary when you think the core beliefs and values of the group will be compromised because of a decision. Collaboration is the win-win style of conflict management and involves working with other group members to find a solution that pleases all parties. Even though this style is seen as positive, it does require a lot of time and energy that the group might not necessarily have the patience for. Compromising is the last conflict management style, and unfortunately considered a lose-lose scenario. This style giving some things up, but also gaining different things in return. Compromising represents the middle ground that has been settled upon by the group and must be considered fair by all parties involved for it to be successful. An example of these management styles in action can be found in a FullSail library database article that deals with leadership and conflict management styles from employer to employee. An experiment revealed that the transformational managers were more likely to utilize obliging and integrating styles, permissive managers avoided any such conflict, and negotiable managers compromised with their subordinates. Being a leader involves not only managing others' conflicts with grace, but also requires a great deal of personal conflict resolution. Remaining solution-oriented while dealing with a situation is something to keep in mind and strive to achieve when working with colleagues and especially with those who look to you for leadership. No single conflict management style is always the best choice. The concept of perception plays a huge role in how conflicts emerge, as well as how they can be settled. The next time you find yourself tangled in a group conflict, try to identify what type of conflict it is and which management style would provide the best outcome. Do not criticize individuals, but rather the issue at hand. Express your concerns with sensitivity, inquiry, and with time constraints in mind. The combination of effectiveness and appropriateness must be taken into consideration, and the most important part of resolving any issue is to remain solution-oriented throughout the disagreement.